The Asics Novablast 4. I've heard about the hype with this line of shoe, but is it all that it lives up to be? Let's talk about it. So before we get into the video, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're already subscribed to watching content. Thanks so much. Love you guys a lot. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Strava for all sorts of other updates and things like that. So without further ado, let's begin. Specs for the shoe. Some are up here. First thing you'll probably notice right off the rip with the specs that I like to make fun of with shoes of these particular pieces is that this is technically illegal for elites to race in because it has a 41mm stack in the heel, but that's all jokes aside. So what was the reasoning for buying this thing? Well, a couple of them, right? So one of them, in my search for a daily trainer post-Chicago Marathon, I was looking for something, one, that was in a reputable brand like Asics, and two, something without a carbon plate. So I had the Cloud Monster, which it did have a plate, but I had some weird heel rubbing that occurred, and I said, okay, that's enough of that. But besides all that, I wanted to go into something that had that name to it. And I heard the hype about the Novablast 3 being this like wowing shoe for some people. I couldn't really find anything from the Novablast 3 that I could purchase, so I went ahead and bought the Model Up, which doesn't get nearly as much, I guess, praise, but is still seen as a really decent running shoe. So, the thing's right off the rip, 9.2 ounces in my size, which is 8.5. That's about like 264 grams on average. We have a heel, again, of 41 millimeters, a forefoot of 33 millimeters, giving us that 8mm offset. Pretty standard for this type of daily trainer ride. Just something unusual in my experience with Asics, as I have the the Metaspeed Sky Plus. That's that 5mm offset, so a little bit more neutral than this shoe, which has some extra reinforcement and has that supination built into the shoe with the forefoot build, right? The bottoms of the shoes, after approximately 8 to 10 miles, I didn't do too much in them right now. The last 3-4 runs I've done kind of looks something like this in the left and the right foot. And some of the things here to note right off the rip also is that the areas that are not exactly padded with the rubber are already kind of taking some beat. That's basically these areas within the crevices of the shoe, which I'll explain more into when I talk about like the ride of how I was feeling it, what this kind of plays in part. But one of the major cons about this shoe that I've experienced with, I think, a variant. I can't even think of the name of the shoe right now. It'll come back to me when the time comes. It's that this kind of feature, it's cool when you strike the ground and the shoe's able to expand a little bit and give you like this marshmallow kind of cloud feeling, but this becomes a problem when it comes to accumulating debris over time. So if you're running through gravel, you're going to get gravel stuck in these patches and you're going to feel them in your foot kind of just stabbing you from the foam, okay? Despite even having this 33 millimeters, like, just think about it. I'm 145 pounds. And it's stabbing me now. Imagine if you're twice my weight, or, you know, a runner that's about 280, 300 pounds, you run in something like this. Imagine how much more force you're going to feel from those rocks if they get stuck in the crevices of the shoe. Neither here nor there. Same feature can happen in the heel if you're more of a heel striker, if, I don't know, you're doing more trail stuff. That's why, again, I would recommend strongly that this stay as a road running shoe rather than kind of like mixed trails, gravel, anything of that sort, right? So anyways, that's addressing some of the foams here. I believe this is flight foam. I think it's called like fresh flight or flight foam maybe. It's the flight foam Blast Plus eco style friendly, so I guess it's their eco-friendly style shoe. Is that what it is? It's 11.2 kilograms of carbon dioxide saved in terms of carbon footprint. Is that what this is supposed to refer to? So yeah, this shoe has saved a sea turtle at some point in its lifetime, I think. That's my interpretation of what's going on with the specs or with what's being used on this. But yeah, minus the tongue twister of foam on the shoe, it is just one piece running all the way across the shoe. There's no carbon plates. This was by design for my purchase and by the shoe's choice, right? I wanted just something to be as soft and as cushiony as possible, just to have an easy set of runs I can enjoy during the week. In the upper, we have this textile mesh. I believe it's called something like a Harlow. I forget what's going on with that, but essentially it's like this Asics textile that's supposed to be extremely flexible, especially in the toe box area. I've definitely noticed that much. With a few caveats to consider, yeah, it does stretch. It's not super tight on your foot, which is excellent, but it doesn't breathe very well. So during the summer days, this could be probably an annoyance, but for myself, who's going to be running in this like autumn to winter seasons when it starts snowing, this isn't going to be much of a concern for my feet. In fact, it will keep my feet warm, which is a good consideration. This could be a problem if I'm running through snow and the shoe gets damp or wet from snow accumulation, but at that point I'm not thinking about running in this shoe when it's snowy unless it's a must-run situation. So that's just something to consider there. We do have a gusseted tongue that has like this spongy feel, spongy look to it, so it adds some additional comfort in those spots. Basically, everything that Asics put with this shoe is designed to maximize the comfort for the daily run, and that includes the areas here with the heel, tongue, the lips of the shoe. It's got this like one fat piece of, I guess, this textile that it's built out of is like super cool. It's like a swirly kind of a, I want to say it's like a caramel looking piece of textile that's essentially just hugging your foot as you're riding with it. So it has extra moving pieces, so you do have to kind of play around with the tightness of the shoe. And yeah, again, it's designed to be a maximum comfort shoe. I don't know if fast is the move here. For me, it's like fine right now in the first early miles. It feels fast. I like personally feel fast in the shoe, despite not being able to really get past 7-minute miles in this particular piece. But going 7 minutes per mile on an easy run for myself at this fitness of my training block is kind of wonky, so I probably shouldn't do that to begin with. But again, everything here is designed for maximum comfort, and that's, I think, where Asics excels with this particular piece. And again, the things I've seen before is that the Novablast 3 was this daily trainer that wowed people based on the design, the ambition of the shoe, and that it was like a really fast shoe. And then some people saw the Novablast 4 and they're like, it's alright, but it wasn't quite the same as Novablast 3. I get it. Something with the running shoes between 2021 and like 2022, 23 had some kind of speed associated with them that was remarkable and something that wowed a lot of us. For me, it was like the Pegasus 37, and then moving into like the Pegasus 38, that's when some of those problems began, if you guys like kind of remember. For myself, in terms of manufacturing, how the shoe felt, it wasn't right for me, at least. Okay, let's talk ride. The most important piece, how does it ride? It's pretty much exactly as I thought it was going to be, with some extra fun pieces. Like I said, when I strike with the shoe, it's kind of in this middle area of the shoe, maybe on the outside a little bit as well. But what's happening is as you sink into the shoe, it feels like the center and maybe even the outsides kind of expand a little bit in terms of the foam sinking down into the ground. You're kind of like putting that pressure. It expands into the crevices of this shoe, which feels kind of cool. It just feels like you're a marshmallow. You're kind of running on clouds. And then when you rebound, it kind of, it fixes itself, and it just helps you with your rebound effectively. But it also gives you this really comforting feeling that on the road doesn't feel like high impact on my joints, like particularly my knees, my ankles. It feels smooth. It's hard to describe. It's like the first time you ran in like a Hoka daily trainer, right? It's that same similar feeling without the stiffness that the Hoka shoes have now. It's kind of here with the Asics particular shoe, with the Novablast in particular, I meant, sorry. And yeah, I just don't know what wrong to say about this thing other than like my initial con here is that debris will get stuck in the foam and the rubber areas here. And the problem with that long term is that can cause damage when this foam's trying to expand and you have like rocks or pebbles stuck in it and it starts cutting into the foam. So for me, I don't see that damage immediately. Some of the damage I see is more of the areas that are not reinforced by the rubber right there on the tip of the shoe, particularly here, where the foam is just taking a quick beat down in that immediate top area. So again, we'll see what happens at 100, maybe about 50 miles, just see what's going on, see if the foam on the shoe holds up and if the rubber holds up as well. But again, this is not meant to do any sort of stunts in my daily training routine or in my shoe rotation. This is meant to be the everyday trainer. Just keep things fun, keep things fresh, keep the runs slower than usual just so I can keep the faster runs faster when the time comes. So that's, I think, where we're going to leave this particular review. So if you have any questions, comments, agreements, disagreements with the shoe, let me know in the comments below. But until then, I think we'll leave it at this. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.